Okay, this is for you. So would you talk a little bit about the constitutionality of gold and silver and how our country became very prosperous under using it's very important that you have a sound money in order for the free markets to work. And our constitutional money is gold and silver, Article 1, Section 10. So if you could just kind of explain to people what that is, I'd appreciate it.
Thank you for putting me on the spot.
Explain the Constitution.
Or as Jeff says, it's already...
You got 3 minutes.
So, no, really, it's a great question. She had me, I forgot what it was, what the venue was. I remember where it was, but I spoke on the constitutionality of money. I think I spent, what, 20 or 30 minutes. But as brief as possible, the origination of the Constitution came from making a huge error, and that was the Continental, which was a paper currency, and it failed miserably due to inflation, and the British actually had a lot to do with it because they counterfeited that paper currency and ran it up. So the founding fathers went back to specie money, which means really it was a silver standard, and it was a foreign coin. It was the taler, which we get the word dollar from, and the pieces of 8. If you really want to study this in depth, read Pieces of 8 by the best constitutional attorney out there, probably much better in monetary history than I am, and I'm pretty well studied. And that's Dr. Edward Vieira, so get those books if you really want to get in the topic. But the point, I think, to be succinct, is based on honesty. And that is what a precious metal standard gives you. Because to transact in a loving, caring, honest world, where people actually get along and war is unthinkable, where we actually get to be our best always and everywhere, you have to have a basis of trust. Do you have to have gold and silver to do that? Hopefully not. In my book, the chapter 13 is Beyond Silver. I'm thinking outside the box, and I always have. What would the world be like without money? What would the world be like if we absolutely trusted each other? What would the world be like if we had real leaders? What would it be like if everyone on the planet that's in power had to tell the truth for 1 week? Where would we be? You know, so those are the kinds of questions I think that I have. Those are the kind of deep thinking, critical thinking values that come from my heart that make this world worth living in. I've got kids, I've got friends, I've got a lot of power, because when you speak the truth, you have a lot of power. But we don't have anyone with any power outside of these small venues like this. And I'm not running for office, believe me, I don't want to, but I still want to talk, you know, the truth to power. So hopefully I made some sense here. Jude, I don't know if I answered your question. But it's really not about silver and gold, although that's the way, that's integrity in the system for everyone to trust each other. But we want to go beyond that. I think it's a link. I think it's going to happen. I think it's going to be part of the alternative currencies. But I think, unfortunately, we've got to go down deeper and lower and see what's really of value. And it's not all about money before we can come back up. From the big perspective, I see it as a spiritual renewal where we really find in each other what makes us human and what makes it so powerful to be human. We've forgotten that in a lot of ways. And my generation is probably the most guilty. I mean, I'm embarrassed to say that when I was young, they had bumper stickers that said, "He who dies with the most toys wins." I mean, that is really a sick way to think. You know, he who gives the most gets the most. That's what I think.
Very good. Sounds like a pretty good question.